Hey there, Al Iverson here. It's time for another one of your email authentication and deliverability questions answered. This time around, the question I'm going to answer is what should senders do about categories in Apple Mail? Now, categories, if you're not aware, is the term for new functionality in Apple Mail, primarily folks worried about Apple Mail on iOS that attempts to group together messages of certain types in different sort of tabs or categories in the mail client Apple Mail. There's primary, transactions, updates, and promotions. And senders have been coming to me over the past few weeks, especially since iOS 18.2 was released, expressing concern that messages are going to get lost or buried in the promotions tab, and that people aren't going to see those messages, aren't going to respond to them, that the engagement will go down and sales will go down as well. Now, is that a legitimate concern, and how do we guide people on that? What's the best guidance for people when it comes to assuaging fears about how Apple categories is going to affect their marketing sense? Now we have some history here to look back on to guide us a little bit. Remembering that past performance is not always indicative of future success, but when we look at the history, there's some knowledge here to be mined and remembered. Keep in mind that we went through this a number of years ago. Gosh, has it been 9, 10 years of Gmail tabs? Gmail has a similar functionality, a tabbed layout with where it'll organize messages based on what Gmail thinks is the appropriate placement based on the content of that message. I get a lot of questions about that, going back all that time, 9, 10 years ago or whenever that was, and then up on and off up until now. Even I get messages from people sort of looking to escape the promotions tab and ensure that messages will go to the primary tab instead. And I don't really have something to offer to allow them to magically do that. And the reason for that is Google considers the promotions tab to be part of the inbox. So from Google's perspective in Gmail, if a message is going to the promotions tab, that's inbox placement. That's where Google wants to put the message. And Google's position there is that those messages are where people want to find them, and that people do go look for those messages in the promotions tab. Now, there's sort of two ways to look at that. From a sender's perspective, there was actually research done by ReturnPath. ReturnPath did a survey. They were a deliverability company, since been bought out by somebody else, but they did a survey a number of years ago, and it showed that something like 66%, 2/3 of users at one point, had disabled tabs in Gmail. So not everybody loves tabs. Number two, Google and others have shared data and also talked about how engagement for promotional messages in the promotional tab is and tends to be high. So people who actually want to buy something now, they are indeed, if they have tabs enabled in Gmail, they go look in their promotions tab for messages. So anyway, the point of all of this is that when you look at the history here with Gmail tabs, is that yes, people are concerned, but those concerns most of the time tended to be overblown. It was really just sort of a freak out more than an actual impactful negative concern, right? People can find the messages when they want them, and a lot of people turn off the tabs anyway. And same deal so far with Apple categories. Not everybody's going to want them. And in fact, I've been seeing a handful of news articles just in the past days that suggest that not everybody is really enthused about the latest version of Apple Mail, specifically the categories functionality. And there's been articles about how you can turn off categories and get back to the old list view of the inbox in Apple Mail. So keep in mind that there's going to be a fair number of people that are not really into it. They're going to switch back to the old way, and they're not going to be impacted by anything happening with categories anyway. Now, like I said, ReturnPath did a survey years ago, so I thought it would be fun to do a little questionnaire of my own, completely non-scientific, but I posted this on LinkedIn earlier this week, and I got 130 responses, and just about half of the people who responded were not really fond of categories in Apple Mail. If you look at this, almost 70% of people were either not sure or didn't like tabs. So far, it is not, in my very non-scientific research, so far it has not been a slam dunk that everybody's going to love tabs or categories in Apple Mail. And that's okay. It doesn't mean that Apple did something bad, right? They offer an option. And if people don't like it, they can disable it. At the same time, too, Apple's going to listen to their users over time. This is all very new. We don't know how it's going to shake out. We don't know what the long-term impact is going to be. And when you look back to the Gmail example, people who want to buy are going to look for promotional email in the promotions category if they have categories enabled. I think putting that all together, I think that boils down to keep calm and carry on. It's a combination of, it's very, very new. Categories are very new here, so it's too soon to say exactly how this is going to be handled in the long term. And then also looking back at the history and experience with Gmail, it really wasn't that bad. Email senders survived it. Email senders survived Gmail tabs, and I think they'll survive Apple Mail categories as well. So that is it for today. Just a quick little video sharing my thoughts. Not that you asked, but I shared them anyway. Thank you so much for joining me on this little journey today. If you've got any questions that you think might make for a good follow-up video, drop me an email at al.iverson@valuemail.com. And when you are ready to embark upon your DMARC journey, we are here. We are the DMARC experts. We can help you get started on that DMARC journey. Visit our website at valuemail.com to learn more. Thanks. Have a great day.